We like to think ideas win because they are true, but truth has never been a great salesman. Ideas spread because they feel true, because they offer what reality rarely does: certainty, belonging, and a sense of control in the middle of chaos. The ideas that flatter us, that make us feel intelligent, righteous, or special thrive. The ones that challenge us don't. They die quietly, like mutations that never found a host. The truth is, we don't really choose ideas. We reward the ones that make us feel safe, and in return, they shape how we see, act, and even who we think we are. From ancient myths whispered around fires to modern memes scrolling through your feed, the game hasn't changed. Only the tools have. The machinery of persuasion is faster, more precise, and more intimate than ever. Every headline, every influencer, every recommended for you is a small seed looking for a mind to grow in. This isn't just about propaganda or advertising or politics. It's about something far more fundamental: the strange symbiosis between humans and ideas that inhabit them. Today I'll tell you a story about the most resilient life form we've ever encountered. Not a virus, not a species, but something far more enduring: the idea. If you look at it closely, an idea behaves a lot like a living thing. It competes, replicates, and adapts to survive, not in the world of matter, but in the world of minds. Richard Dawkins once called them memes, units of culture that copy themselves from brain to brain the way genes copy themselves from body to body. And just like genes, most ideas don't care about your well-being. They care about their own survival. That's why certain ideas thrive, even when they make people miserable. The belief that you're part of a chosen group, for example, religious, political, intellectual, gives an instant sense of meaning and status. It doesn't matter whether it's true. It matters that it feels good enough to defend. Once an idea finds a mind that nourishes it, it starts to grow roots, shaping what that person notices, values, and ignores. It becomes the lens through which the world makes sense. And here is its most powerful weapon. Once an idea builds that lens, you can't easily see the idea itself anymore. You're not thinking about it, you're thinking through it. That's what makes persuasion so powerful and so invisible. We imagine ourselves as independent thinkers navigating a landscape of ideas, but most of the time it's the other way around. Ideas navigate us. They use our emotions as engines: fear, pride, hope, resentment, to keep themselves alive. And in return, we feel that our thoughts are ours. I call this the illusion of mental autonomy. We're convinced we're the captain, even as the wheel turns on its own. American economist Thomas Sowell once wrote that most political arguments aren't really about policies, they are about visions. And by vision, he didn't mean daydreams or slogans. He meant deep, often unspoken frameworks about how humans are and what can be done about it. He called them the constrained and unconstrained visions. And when you understand these two, the world suddenly starts to make sense. Not because it becomes simpler, but because you see the operating system behind so many of our disagreements. For example, the constrained vision sees human nature as fixed and fallible. We can't change people much, only manage our flaws through institutions, incentives, and trade-offs. Progress in this view comes from systems that work despite our limits, not from moral purity or grand plans. The US Constitution, for instance, was designed by people who assumed human selfishness was permanent, and that power must therefore be divided and restrained. The unconstrained vision, on the other hand, sees human nature as improvable, even perfectible. If we remove the right barriers, like ignorance, inequality, injustice, people can flourish without limits. Progress here means reimagining systems from scratch, not patching them cautiously. Now, these two visions aren't just political labels, they're mental blueprints, ideas that took root deep in people's minds. Once someone internalizes one of these visions, it doesn't just shape their opinions, it filters their perception of what's even reasonable. When someone with a constrained vision hears about a new social program, they see potential for unintended consequences. Increase welfare benefits, build social housing, the constrainers will see the potential for fraud and misuse. When someone with an unconstrained vision hears about the same program, they see hope and moral urgency. Open borders, endless sympathy, unconditional acceptance. Both are intelligent, both may care about the truth, but they live in different cognitive realities. They're not just disagreeing over facts, they're speaking from different worlds built by different captains, different ideas steering the ship. That's why persuasion between such people rarely works. You can't convince someone who is seeing through a vision because the vision itself determines what counts as convincing. And that's Sowell's deepest insight. Beneath every argument lies a philosophy of human nature. And once that philosophy takes root, you're not the one thinking, it thinks for you. If ideas live in human minds, then human societies are their ecosystems. They grow, compete, and evolve within us, but also through the institutions, media, and technologies we build. Once a dominant vision takes hold, it begins to shape everything downstream: laws, education, journalism, even the algorithms that decide what we see online. Each of these systems then acts like a climate that favors certain ideas over others. Some flourish, others suffocate. That's why persuasion today is not just about speech, it's about architecture. The architecture of feeds, timelines, and engagement loops. In the past, persuasion required effort, printing pamphlets, delivering speeches, writing manifestos. Today, it's automated. Every platform quietly learns which emotions make you stay longer and feeds you more of that emotion. The result isn't an intentional conspiracy, it's an emergent ecosystem of attention. Ideas that spark outrage, fear, or self-righteousness multiply faster because the system rewards engagement, not understanding. And the more those ideas spread, the more the algorithm learns to promote them, until the whole environment becomes optimized for emotional infection. This is where Sowell's vision return in digital form. Online, you can watch the constrained and unconstrained visions crystallize into self-reinforcing tribes. Each tribe builds its own language, its own facts, its own saints and heretics. The algorithm doesn't care which side you're on, it only cares you stay on one. And so persuasion stops being a moment between two people and becomes a structure that surrounds everyone. The individual act of convincing is replaced by a constant atmospheric influence, an invisible pressure that shapes how we feel before we've even thought. It's no longer just ideas using people, it's systems of ideas using entire populations, evolving faster than our psychology can adapt. In this world, persuasion isn't a speech or an argument, it's the air we breathe. If we accept that ideas use us, that they think through us, feel through us, and even fight through us, then the question becomes, is there any way to think freely at all? Maybe not entirely, but there is a kind of freedom that begins with recognition. The moment you see an idea trying to live through you, trying to steer your emotions, filter your perception, or recruit your loyalty, that's the moment a small gap opens between you and the idea. And in that gap lives awareness. Critical thinking isn't about rejecting ideas, it's about seeing them operate. It's realizing that the story you tell yourself about the world, about progress, justice, morality, or reason, might not be your story alone. It might be a part of a lineage, an inheritance passed down from minds long gone. Think of someone who once believed that rational debate can solve all disagreement, only to later discover that people don't want to agree, they want to belong. That realization doesn't destroy the idea of rationality, it humbles it, it makes it more human. And that humility is the start of intellectual maturity. Once you begin to notice the captains, those master frameworks steering your thoughts, you can start to navigate among them. You can step outside one, examine another, and even borrow from both without total allegiance. That's where real critical thinking happens, not in having no vision, but in learning to hold more than one. To see that every belief is a lens with its own distortions. To understand that every system of thought has a cost, a trade-off, a shadow. And in that space, between commitment and awareness, thoughts finally become yours again. You stop being just a vessel for ideas. You start being their caretaker, because ideas don't vanish when you reject them. They wait, they evolve, they whisper to someone else. The best we can do is live with them consciously, to let them serve us without surrendering to them. This is Think Why, a place for people like us, willing to see things beyond the obvious. Thanks for watching another episode. See you again.